The Nigerian judiciary is currently sitting on a massive keg of gunpowder. And at the very center of this explosive situation is Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Right now, a massive storm is gathering over his head, and it threatens to shake the very foundations of the legal system in Nigeria. The explosive headline that has been making rounds everywhere, claiming that Justice Omotosho is in big trouble as the National Judicial Council begins a massive probe into the life sentence handed down to the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, is not just a mere rumor. It is rooted in a highly controversial and unprecedented series of events that have unfolded since that dramatic judgment was delivered late last year, and the fallout has now spilled heavily into 2026. To understand the sheer gravity of what is happening behind the closed doors of the National Judicial Council, we have to look closely at the heavy accusations being leveled against the judge, accusations that go beyond just a disagreement over a harsh sentence. According to multiple petitions and heavy outcry from both local and international groups, Justice Omotosho is being accused of something very rare and extremely dangerous in the legal profession, which is judicial fabrication. The core of this massive trouble stems from the life imprisonment sentence he handed to Nnamdi Kanu on terrorism charges, a judgment that has now been heavily scrutinized by legal experts, human rights activists, and foreign observers who claim the judge inserted fictional narratives into his final ruling to intentionally demonize the separatist leader before the international community. The most damaging allegation that has triggered this massive call for an investigation by the National Judicial Council revolves around a very specific and shocking claim found in Justice Omotosho's judgment. Several United States-based groups and a coalition of legal observers have publicly accused the judge of manufacturing a lie that Nnamdi Kanu planned to bomb the British and United States missions in Nigeria. These groups are loudly insisting that throughout the entire duration of the trial, from the moment Kanu was first arraigned to the very day the judgment was delivered, nothing remotely connected to a plot to bomb foreign embassies was ever presented in court. They state clearly and without any fear of contradiction that this allegation was never charged by the federal government, no prosecution witness ever testified about it, and no document, exhibit, audio, video, or intelligence report was ever tendered as evidence to support such a wild claim. In the legal world, a judge is only supposed to make a ruling based on the hard evidence presented and debated in the courtroom, allowing the defense a fair opportunity to cross-examine witnesses. Because this alleged bomb plot was never brought up during the trial, Nnamdi Kanu and his legal team had absolutely no opportunity to defend against it. This has led to heavy accusations that the judge casually wrote this fictional story into his judgment simply to drive a wedge between the IPOB leader and the governments of the United States and the United Kingdom. This alleged conduct has sent the worst possible signal globally, suggesting that courts can be used to manufacture terrorists on paper while ignoring actual evidence. And this is exactly why the National Judicial Council is being petitioned to step in and investigate the integrity of that entire judgment. To fully grasp how we got to this boiling point, we have to look back at the incredible drama that characterized the final days of Nnamdi Kanu's trial before Justice Omotosho. The courtroom was always tense, but things reached a completely new level when Kanu decided to take his destiny into his own hands by sacking his entire legal team, which was led by a highly experienced former Attorney General of the Federation. Kanu chose to defend himself, a move that surprised everyone in the courtroom. He continuously challenged the jurisdiction of the court to try him, arguing that his extraordinary rendition from Kenya made the entire trial unconstitutional. During one of the most heated moments of the trial, just before he was ordered to be taken out of the courtroom, Kanu openly clashed with Justice Omotosho, boldly pointing at the judge and telling him he did not know the law. During the earlier stages of the trial, Kanu had actually filed a no-case submission, basically telling the court that the government had failed to prove any of the charges against him and that he had no case to answer. However, the judge dismissed this application, ordering him to enter his defense and clear up several gray areas regarding his controversial broadcasts. Instead of complying and bringing witnesses, Kanu sacked his lawyers and demanded 90 days to subpoena various serving and past government officials to testify, a move the court rejected before delivering the final hammer. The judge ultimately found him guilty on all 7 counts of terrorism. Specifically, the court convicted him on counts 1, 4, 5, and 6, which dealt heavily with treasonable felony and broadcasting falsehoods, while also handing down additional 20-year and 5-year sentences for counts 3 and 7 running concurrently. Justice Omotosho stated that the prosecution had provided sufficient, credible, and compelling evidence to prove that Kanu incited violence, taught his followers how to make bombs, and threatened the peace of the nation through his radio broadcasts. While the offenses carried a maximum penalty of death, the judge noted that he chose life imprisonment out of mercy, referencing global trends moving away from capital punishment and biblical teachings on compassion. However, the groups petitioning the National Judicial Council argue that there is no mercy in a judgment built on unproven and fabricated allegations, and they are demanding a full review of the trial transcripts to expose what they call a clear miscarriage of justice. Adding fuel to the raging fire is the controversial decision regarding where Nnamdi Kanu would serve this life sentence. Justice Omotosho specifically ordered that Kanu should not be kept at the Kuje Correctional Center in Abuja, but rather in a secure protective facility anywhere else in the country. Following this directive, the Department of State Services quickly moved the IPOB leader to a maximum security prison in Sokoto State, located in the far northwestern part of Nigeria. This sudden transfer has sparked massive outrage among his supporters and family members, who argue that moving him to Sokoto was a deliberate strategy to completely frustrate his appeal process. By placing him so far away, it becomes financially and practically impossible for his lawyers to have regular access to him to prepare a solid defense for the Court of Appeal. Just recently, in February 2026, the indigenous people of Biafra released a very strong press statement directly accusing Justice Omotosho of deep bias and political motivation. They described the judgment as a mere vendetta dressed in judicial robes, arguing that the judge knew fully well that sending Kanu to Sokoto would effectively cut him off from the world. The group even went as far as mocking the judge, stating that while he was busy doing the bidding of his political masters by jailing an innocent man, the very forces of insecurity he sought to appease have now spread to other parts of the country. They challenged the current administration to justify Kanu's continued detention while the nation battles worsening insecurity, warning that history is watching and events will eventually testify against those who pervert the course of justice. As we continue to dig deeper into the massive implications of this potential National Judicial Council probe and what it means for the fragile peace in the country, this is the perfect time to make sure you are staying connected with us. If you are enjoying this detailed breakdown of the real stories shaping our justice system, please take a quick second to hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel right now. Your support really helps us keep bringing you these well-researched, factual, and engaging updates exactly as they happen, ensuring you never miss out on the vital news that affects us all. By subscribing, you become part of a community that values the truth behind the headlines. Now, looking at the broader political and social fallout of Justice Omotosho's ruling, it is very clear that the judgment has caused deep disquiet, especially in the southeastern part of the country. Prominent political leaders, including state governors and former presidential candidates, have expressed deep shock and sorrow over the life sentence, warning that it risks worsening the already fragile security situation in the region. The traditional rulers from Kanu's clan have also lent their voices, insisting that their son is not a terrorist and appealing to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to consider a presidential pardon for the sake of national healing and reconciliation. The tension surrounding this case is so thick that the Federal High Court recently had to publicly debunk a viral fake news report claiming that Justice Omotosho had survived an assassination attempt shortly after delivering the judgment. The court described the rumor as a malicious attempt to cause panic and intimidate the judiciary, calling on security agencies to track down the bloggers responsible for spreading the dangerous misinformation. The ball is now firmly in the court of the National Judicial Council, which serves as the highest disciplinary body for judges in Nigeria. If the council officially takes up these petitions and begins a massive probe into Justice Omotosho's conduct, it will be one of the most high-profile judicial investigations in recent Nigerian history. The council will have to carefully review every single word spoken during the trial, compare the official transcripts with the final written judgment, and determine if the judge truly inserted the alleged bomb plot to justify the life sentence. If the probe finds that the judge acted unprofessionally or allowed personal bias and external pressure to influence his ruling, the consequences could be incredibly severe. It could lead to his suspension, outright dismissal from the bench, or provide the exact legal ammunition Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers need to easily overturn the conviction at the Court of Appeal. Human rights activists are already calling on the Nigerian Bar Association to support this demand for transparency, emphasizing that a justice system that relies on manufactured evidence is a danger to every single citizen, not just political agitators. The entire nation, and indeed the international community, is watching very closely to see how the National Judicial Council handles this delicate and explosive situation. Will they protect one of their own, or will they uphold the strict principles of the law regardless of whose ox is God? The answer to that question will determine the future of Nnamdi Kanu, the reputation of Justice James Omotosho, and the ultimate credibility of the Nigerian judiciary in the years to come. I would love to hear your thoughts on this massive development, so please drop your opinions in the comment section below.